One player talked trash and then regretted he ever even opened his mouth. Another player tried, but got roasted on social media and national television, and was so embarrassed he nearly deleted all his socials. I guess it's fair to say you do not want to try trash talking the Warriors, because everything might just end up going all wrong. The rising Houston Rockets star crossed the line with Steph last season. For a guy who was a nice player, no doubt, but he ain't Steph Curry, not even in the same stratosphere. And he came out talking trash even after Steph owned KPJ on a game-winning buzzer beater just days earlier.
He checked it. Steph for the win. Yes, sir!
But for some reason, he wanted to test the former unanimous MVP some more. So he got his wish. Long story short, on January 31st, 2022, KPJ regrets he ever suited up to play. With just a few minutes left in the third quarter, KPJ got called for a foul while trying to guard Steph. And then he began eyeballing Steph like he was just some guy.
On the game winner. Look at Kevin Porter Jr. looking at Steph. He does not like that call. He's still staring at him. Steph is not even going to acknowledge him.
Steph didn't say anything back right then and there, but you already know he used every moment of KPJ staring at him as burning adrenaline to go insane moments later. Steph had a modest 16 points in the game up until that point in the third and finished the quarter off by adding another three-pointer. But that last three he hit in the third was only something to get the party started. Steph got the crowd clamoring after he hit his deep step back with 5:40 left in the fourth. A clean swish, nothing but the sound of the net. Moments later, after a Warriors miss, KPJ strolled up on the court with Steph guarding him and nailed a three on the left wing, which cut the lead to 4. And KPJ was hyped. He let Steph know too. F*** you talking about, boy? This is what Steph did. Actually, never mind. Just watch what Steph does just a few minutes later.
Curry right by Matthews, loops it all back in. Eric Gordon also back on the floor, back to Curry, who does it again.
A three ball right in KPJ's face gave him 38 in the game, including 19 more in the fourth before ultimately finishing the game with a 40-piece. So let's rewind a bit. After KPJ dared to stare down the baby-faced assassin, he scored 26 points from that moment on, in only 16 minutes. Steph taught the kid a lesson that day, and yes, his splash bro Klay Thompson did the same thing to another player just later that season. The Warriors and the Grizzlies established their little grudge at the end of the 2020 season, when Memphis sent Steph and the Warriors home and ended their playoff hopes. Because when the Grizzlies and the Warriors met again almost a year later, this time with Klay in the lineup, the Grizzlies won again. And that led Jaren Jackson Jr. to put out a tweet saying, "Strength in numbers." Jaren Jackson Jr. tweeted nearly a full 3 months before Klay called him a bum.
There was this one player on the Grizzlies who tweeted strength in numbers after they beat us in the regular season, and it pissed me off so much. I can't wait to retweet that thing. Freaking bum.
Klay held on to that and patiently waited for a potential rematch in the postseason. Then Klay would get his wish. Oh, and yeah, he got his wish.
Thompson again. Points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists for Green. Thompson comes over the rejection. Poole the save. Looney another board. He's got 20. Thompson puts it in, and that might be the dagger.
Klay Thompson seriously took that tweet personally, and Jaren Jackson probably seriously considered deleting his Twitter after that trash-talking fail. You see, the Warriors ran through the NBA with little to no adversity from a competition standpoint for a solid 3 years. From, I would say, the minute the Warriors played their first game with Kevin Durant in 2016 throughout the 2018 season, it was almost a foregone conclusion that the Warriors would win the NBA Finals. And I know that there was a little bit of speculation before the Warriors and the Cavs met in the 2017 NBA Finals after the Cavs won the Christmas Day grudge match, but still. We knew what was going to happen after the Warriors routed Cleveland in the first 2 games. So when the Warriors lost KD to injury during the 2019 postseason and then lost Klay to an ACL tear just weeks later in the NBA Finals, the Warriors, of course, lost to the Raptors in the finals. and all I heard and read for a good long while was this.
Is Golden State's dynasty done?
Yes, it is.
That dynasty's over. We did what we had to do.
Yeah? Well, go back to sleep. While guys were out there celebrating the premature demise of the Warriors, Steph, Clay, Draymond, and the rest of those boys, they were patiently and then not so patiently awaiting their opportunity at firing back at the world. But when the Warriors won a league-worst 15 games during the following season, it just gave that much more fuel to the quote-unquote Warriors dynasty is over fire. But the fire in the eyes of the Warriors only grew stronger, stronger, and stronger.
We know we're not done. Myself, Clay, Draymond, the core that's been here, we're gonna be in good shape coming out of this.
To say the dynasty is over, I think is a little ignorant. I think I'm gonna come back even better and more athletic, and it would not be smart to count the dubs out.
It was a while before the Warriors could actually unite back on the court because of the pandemic. And then there was Clay's ACL tear, and just so much going on. So, from the moment the Raptors won the NBA title until the fall of 2021, the Warriors took a national beating unlike any other sports franchise has ever endured. People took shots at Steph, said Clay wasn't gonna be the same, and Draymond was a system player at best.
People say we're not gonna make the playoffs. That's crazy to me.
And up until last season, I was still hearing people saying that the Warriors wouldn't even make the playoffs. And then, you, me, and 29 other NBA teams watched one of the greatest revenge tours in a single season ever. The Warriors came out firing on all cylinders the next season with Clay back and with Steph and Draymond rested and recovered. A few months later, the Warriors ended their too-long playoff drought. And then, just a couple of months after that, the Warriors did it, and the revenge season was officially complete. Heck, I don't know what reasons a player or another team has to trash talk the Warriors after this video and everything we just saw. We know one truth: you don't mess with those guys up in the Bay.